At these forthcoming council elections, we're now required to produce some ID in order to vote. But listen to this.
If we look at the Electoral Commission data on all of this from 2022, there were 7 allegations of personation at polling stations.
So the reason we're now required to show ID is down to the fact that 7 people out of the entire nation tried to commit voter fraud. But hang on, it gets worse.
And in not one of them was there anywhere close to evidence for them to proceed with it. There haven't even been prosecutions, let alone convictions.
So nobody was actually prosecuted. So now we all must remember to take ID, which means some people are going to forget and not come back.
So again, I ask why. On the one hand, you have the rights of 2 million people without photo ID potentially becoming disenfranchised, and you've got 7 allegations of personation in 2022, none of which resulted in a conviction.
So possibly 2 million people might not have any form of ID or the right kind of ID, and so won't be able to vote because of supposed voter fraud. We all know the real reason. It's to disenfranchise younger people from voting because they're less likely to vote Tory. Here it's made even clearer.
But look at the cards that are allowed to be used. The older person's bus pass, the disabled person's bus pass, the Oyster 60 Plus card, the Freedom Pass, the National Entitlement card, the 60 and over Welsh concessionary travel card. All of these for older people. It does rather beg the question, is part of this not to do with the fact that if you are under the age of 25, you are far more likely to be voting Labour in the next coming election?
OK, let's hear from professional weasel Philp MP.
Nonsense. I think the studies that were done showed that actually younger people were more likely to have, I mean, the figure's 98% overall. So, I mean, most people have one of these forms of ID. But I believe the study showed that younger people were more likely, even more likely, to have one of the various forms of ID than older people. So the point you're making, I think, is categorically not fair.
So what do you think about voter ID? Personally, there seems to be very little promotion that tells you you're going to need it. And I think that means there's going to be a significant amount of voters who won't come back if they didn't know to bring proof along with them in the first place.
Why are we demanding people show photo ID at polling stations when historically this country has never had a problem with voter impersonation?
Well, of course, one of the issues with voter impersonation is by definition, you don't know when it's happening.
Click here to find out if Suella Braverman is moral grandstanding.